The moment they took the Senate majority this year, Democrats made it clear that one of the reasons why they were insisting on a big COVID relief package is because of what happened during the last big crisis, right? The financial crisis around 12 years ago. That is the last crisis precipitated by a Republican president that a Democratic administration immediately had to try to get out of. Despite having both houses of Congress and the White House, the rescue package from the Obama administration was, in retrospect, I think it's quite clear, simply too small to do what was needed. And one of the loudest voices calling for more stimulus back then was Nobel Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman. And Professor Paul Krugman himself joins me now. I have been covering this since back then. I was writing about the debates over the Recovery Act back then and the stimulus, and now. What has changed? Why? How do you account for the massive difference between the approach this time around and last time?
Well, first of all, I think Democrats have learned two things, one economic and one political. They've learned that when you're kind of at bottom, particularly when interest rates are already zero, there's a tremendous economic asymmetry. If you overshoot, okay, well, the Federal Reserve can raise interest rates and inflation can be contained. If you undershoot, they can't cut interest rates because they're already zero. So there's a tremendous asymmetry there. But even more important, they've learned about the political, that they've learned about the nature of their opposition. Apparently, according to accounts, there were people in the Obama inner circle who thought that if the first stimulus turned out not to be big enough, they could go back for more. And that may have been true when Everett Dirksen was the leader of Senate Republicans, but it's not true when Mitch McConnell is the leader. If it's not big enough the first time around, then the other guys are going to say, aha, see, your
right.
economic philosophy doesn't work. And so you don't get a second chance. And they learned that, some of us did warn about that back then, but now I think everybody gets it.
Yeah, I also think on the political level, it was interesting to see the Republican governor of West Virginia, again, this is a state Trump carried by 40 points, Jim Justice, saying things like this, right? This sounds like Paul Krugman circa 2009. He says, I just keep going back to the exact same thing. It's this. At the end of the day, if we overdo it a little bit, downside risk is minimal. If we underdo it, the downside risk is enormous. That really did sink in broadly past just like little, the corner of econ Twitter where people debate this. It really did sink in.
Yeah, I have to say it's, I spent most of my career as a pundit, just making arguments that turn out, I'm not always right, but making arguments that turn out to be right and end up being vindicated in principle, but never getting a chance to have it right in real time. This time, the Democrats actually acted on it. People actually learned the lesson and did the right thing. So, I'm pinching myself, wondering if this is some kind of a dream, because we really are actually responding more or less adequately to the crisis at hand.
One thing I think about now as we watch the vaccinations, which are right around 2.2 million a day, when we conceive of the possibility of getting to some kind of herd immunity, plus this rescue money, I'm certainly not an economic prognosticator, but the second half of this year, particularly the last quarter, it could be really good, right? I mean, there is a lot of pent-up demand. We haven't lost. It's not a natural disaster that took out huge amounts of physical capital. Like, the airplanes are all there. The hotels are all there. Broadway's still there. Like, you just got to, we could have a pretty good second half of this year.
Yeah, there isn't even the kind of overhang of bad debt that we had last time around. So we really are, to coin a phrase, this could very well be morning in America. I'm Goldman Sachs, and they have a very good team of economists, whatever else you may think of them. They're predicting that we really are going to have close to 8% growth this year, which is a morning in America level of growth, enough to get the economy more or less back to full employment by early next year. Now, that's not the end of the story. There's a tremendous amount of stuff we need to do down the line, but I'm expecting that a year from now, we're going to be looking and saying, wow, incredible how much better things have gotten.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank all of you out there.
Thank you as always.
Thanks to you at home.
Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for letting us into your homes during these extraordinary times.